Hey, and welcome back to the Dice Tower. I'm Camilla, and I'm here to talk about 4 different games that I've played recently that I want to share my feelings and my thoughts and my ratings on, even though I wasn't part of the bigger group review. So in this rapid fire roundup, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my thoughts on the 4 games: Forest of Radgost, Cosmoctopus, Archaeus Society, and Disney Lorcana. So stick with me. Here we go. First up, we have Forest of Radgost. Now, I was drawn into this because of the look and the lore of the game. And I have to say, that is a huge positive for this game. I really like just the richness of this. And I like that it's based off this historical setting as well, this historical myth of this area of the world. And I love those little ties. It really feels like it's trying to share some cultural history here with you. Unfortunately, it makes it feel like it's an RPG game where you need to do a lot of studying and really understand all this lore in order for the board game part of it to be interesting. Ultimately, it's a roll and move, and it feels like you're walking in and trying to make decisions that you don't have all the information for. You come up on an animal, you know there's one there, this creature there, you don't know what it is until you walk into it, and then you walk into it and reveal it, and it tells you what kind it is, and unless you're willing to read like 2 pages to kind of get the background and the lore and understand what this creature does, you don't know if you should hide or you should run away. Are you equipped to fight this thing? So it feels like you have to put in a lot in order to get enough out of this game, because the gameplay itself on its own is just a pretty basic roll and move. And that's not enough. So I'm going to come in at a 5 for this game. I wanted to like Forest of Radgost a lot. I think it's a fantastic world, and it's doing a great job representing this mythology that it wanted to represent. But unfortunately, the gameplay itself was a miss for me. So that's Forest of Radgost. I came in at a 5. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous to go into this next one here. This is Disney Lorcana, and I'm nervous because I'm not really a fan of it. To be fair, I don't really like CCGs, and by that I mean I don't like CCGs or TCGs. And this is really not an exception for me. I think I did have higher expectations for the game. I think having the Disney IP, I expected something to be really accessible. I'm going to come in at a 6 on it, and that's because I can't figure out who this game is for. Is it for CCGers who are looking for a new CCG? This doesn't really bring anything new to the game here. It just feels like a light Magic almost, Magic the Gathering. So I don't think it's very innovative at all, which is kind of what I expect from Disney, right? Now, I know Disney didn't design this, but you have that IP, that connection is going to be made. Is it not for CCGers? Is it for people who like Disney and this is going to be a gateway or an entry into CCGs? Well, again, it's a lot like Magic. I still found myself having to look up every keyword. Yes, it is written on the card. I get that. I get that it's right there and you can read what it means. But dag nab, after 3 times of doing that, I'm just tired. Wait, I sing a song. What does that mean? There's a disconnect in a theme here. I don't understand why Moana is attacking her challenging her grandmother, which does damage. So she is actually attacking her. Got it. You know, it just is. There's a disconnect in that theme. So if Disney's bringing you in, I don't think that this is a great entry point into CCG either. If you're someone who doesn't really care for CCGs already and you just like Disney, I think that this is fine. You know, if you really love CCGs and you really love Disney, maybe this is a perfect middle ground for you because you already know you like it and you don't need innovation. Then check out Disney Lorcana. Unfortunately for me, I don't really care for Disney. I don't really care for CCGs. I'm good with Disney. I think it's fun and it's something I do have a connection to, but I don't love Disney. So the game really brought nothing for me. It was a 6. Do you want to play? Sure. I've got 15 minutes that I can spend with you. Then we'll play around with Disney Lorcana. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that, and I'm sure a lot of you disagree. So let me know down below. Maybe be a little bit kind. Cosmoctopus. Man, was I drawn into this game just because of the look. I love my sea creatures. I love the tentacles. I really enjoyed Parks in the past. I like Henry Audubon's other games. And so I was really excited to try this one. I will say you can see his design in the game. And I mean that as a positive. If you like his kind of games, this one fits very well right there beside Parks. I find it very pleasing. It's kind of a mix between efficiency puzzle and engine building as you're kind of getting your, kind of like a Splendor kind of way. You know, you get cards out there, which gives you boons, which makes cards later cheaper, things like that. I really like that. I like finding your own path to fuel this engine of efficiency that you're trying to do. I like that hard cut again at the end. Somebody gets 8 tentacles, the game is done. I really like that racing element to it that, you know, then you go into the scoring and stuff. So I enjoy a lot of parts of this game. I'm going to come in at a 7.5. It's one that I would definitely recommend. What holds it back a little bit for me is unfortunately some of the randomness that can come. I'm all about replayability and giving alternate board setups and that kind of stuff in order to increase that replayability. I think this one suffers from it though, in sometimes the board setup feels random, which leads to some gameplays being better than others. So it's not one that I can consistently say it's going to be a good play. There was one specific I can think of where all the resource gathering options on the actual board that you're moving around were lumped together. And that made it really frustrating because if somebody before you moved the piece, then it would take a long time or extra actions to go back there to get it. And that happened to me 2 or 3 times in this game that I just found myself on the wrong side of the map and it just wasted kind of this efficiency puzzle that I was trying to build. So I found that a little frustrating, as well as those higher player counts that it can drag a little bit because you can't plan ahead until your turn. Because you don't know where the piece is going to be and what your options are with how far you can move. So with that, you know, I did feel it drug a little bit at the higher player counts, but I very much enjoyed my plays of this game and the puzzle that it does bring. I think it's a great addition to my collection and I would recommend it. So that's Cosmoctopus, 7.5. Last up here we have Archaeus Society. I feel like Archaeus Society is all of the improvements that I wanted in Ethnos. I don't really care for Ethnos. No, it's not because I don't think it's a good looking game. It has nothing to do with that actually. It's a game that I really wanted to like despite that, but I just found myself so frustrated by the area control aspects. Now, admittedly, I don't really care for area control historically. I wanted Ethnos to be the exception to that, but it wasn't. I just always felt myself one step behind. Maybe it's a mechanism I just suck at and that's fine, but Ethnos to me was a very frustrating play experience in almost all of my gameplays. I think I've had multiple, and there was one exception to that I can think. That was the exception that I had fun in Ethnos. Archaeus Society is the complete opposite of that. It is exactly what I wanted. I love the tracks, that there are no longer the area control aspect. It went to tracks. I feel like that gives more interesting decisions in what to play into. What, I guess it was a race when you were in Ethnos, and this it is in what group or category that you're playing into. So I think that as you're trying, that is just more interesting. Which track do you want to go up? You know, do you want to go up to this one, but are you going to be able to go up twice in that track to maximize that scoring? Or are you going to go over here, which is going to give you some bonus and benefit that you need? So you're not just piecing together what you can, but it makes it feel a little bit more push your luck. Like I can do it right now, but man, I really want one more card. So I found myself grueling a little bit more over those decisions in a very positive way. I will say that I felt like the powers of the individual characters can be a little confusing with the iconography, and that holds it back for me. But that does go away with repeated plays. I don't think that the iconography is necessarily bad, it's just not intuitive. And so every time you bring out that new faction, it's just a little like, hold on. What does the architect do again? What does the student do? I don't understand how that works. You really have to refresh it each time. That does, again, go away with time. So Archaeus Society, I'm going to come in at an 8, which is a huge improvement for me over Ethnos, and it is one that I will happily play, happily recommend, and honestly look forward to keep delving into and hopefully memorizing those different factions because I really am enjoying it that much. So Archaeus Society, that's an 8. There you have it. That is what I think of those 4 games, and I am sure there are some of you that agree with me, but also some that maybe passionately disagree with me on, at least one of these. And that's okay. That's why we game, right? We all have our individual taste. But do let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are any of these that I didn't care for worth a second look? Or are you enjoying the other 2 as much as I did? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for listening here and watching. And until next time, I'm Camilla. Go play some games.